The night was draped in an inky blackness, the moon's feeble light struggling to penetrate the thick blanket of clouds that loomed overhead. The wind whispered through the empty streets, carrying with it a bone-chilling cold that seeped into my skin. I pulled my jacket tighter around me, the fabric offering little protection against the looming dread that settled in my chest. Each step I took seemed to reverberate through the silence, a stark reminder of my solitary journey. My own breath echoed in my ears, a steady rhythm that did little to ease the tension that coiled within me. I glanced around, the shadows that danced along the edges of the street morphing into sinister shapes that seemed to watch my every move. The streetlights, flickering like dying stars, cast an eerie glow that did little to dispel the suffocating darkness. A distant dog's mournful howl sent a shiver down my spine, a sound that seemed to carry the weight of the entire night. I quickened my pace, my heart pounding in my chest as the feeling of being watched intensified. A rustling in the bushes to my left made me jump, my eyes darting in that direction. My breath caught as I caught a glimpse of movement, a fleeting shadow that disappeared as quickly as it had appeared. My mind raced, conjuring images of lurking predators and unseen terrors that threatened to close in on me. Every corner I turned seemed to hold a new layer of unease, each step becoming a battle between my instinct to flee and the knowledge that I had to continue. I clenched my fists, my knuckles white against the fabric of my jacket, as I tried to muster the courage to keep going. A sudden gust of wind rattled the nearby trees, their branches creaking and swaying as if in response to some hidden force. I stumbled back, my heart racing as my mind conjured thoughts of malevolent spirits and vengeful ghosts that lurked just out of sight. I could almost hear whispers carried by the wind, voices that seemed to echo from the very depths of the night. As I walked on, my steps became more deliberate, each footfall a testament to the determination that burned within me. But the fear was unrelenting, an ever-present weight that clung to my every thought. The silence was oppressive, broken only by the occasional hoot of an owl or the distant hum of a passing car. My breath hitched as I caught sight of a figure in the distance, standing beneath a flickering street lamp. My heart hammered in my chest, my mind racing as I struggled to make sense of what I was seeing. Was it a trick of the light? A mirage brought on by my own anxiety? Or was it something more sinister? Something that had been waiting for me to cross its path? As I drew closer, the figure became clearer, its form taking shape in the dim light. My stomach churned as I realized that it was a person, their back turned to me as they stared off into the distance. A wave of relief washed over me, followed by a surge of embarrassment at my own paranoia. But as I passed by, a chill ran down my spine and I couldn't help but steal a glance over my shoulder. The figure remained unmoving, a silhouette against the night, and for a brief moment our eyes met. The feeling that washed over me then was one of pure terror, an inexplicable certainty that I was not alone on that desolate street. I quickened my pace, my footsteps echoing in the silence as I fought the urge to run. Every fiber of my being screamed at me to flee, to escape the clutches of whatever unseen presence lurked behind me. But I forced myself to keep walking, my eyes fixed firmly ahead as I prayed for the safety of my own doorstep. Finally, I reached the familiar glow of the street lamp just outside my house. With trembling hands, I fumbled for my keys and unlocked the door, practically stumbling inside. I slammed the door shut behind me, my heart still racing as I leaned against it, my breath coming in ragged gasps. As I stood there, the weight of the night's terror slowly began to lift, replaced by a sense of gratitude for the safety of my home. I knew that the fear I had felt was irrational, a product of my overactive imagination, and yet the memory of that walk would forever remain etched in my mind. And as I peeled off my jacket and stepped into the warm embrace of my home, I couldn't help but wonder what truly lurked in the shadows of the night, just beyond the edge of our perception.